Marvel fans are losing their minds because they finally confirmed a huge detail about Spider-Man's origin in the MCU and how it's changed from the comics, and fans are not happy about it. Let me explain. Now, even though we've never seen Spider-Man's origin story in the MCU still, a lot of people just assumed it was probably the basic story of him getting bit by the spider, Uncle Ben dying, and it's partially Peter's fault, and he feels a tremendous amount of guilt for that. But now we just learned something that changes all of this, and I think people are overreacting to this in a crazy way, but let's just go over it. So the Russo brothers, who were the first directors to bring Spider-Man into the MCU, were holding an event for the 10th year anniversary for Captain America Civil War, and Joe Russo says that Peter Parker wasn't actually responsible for Uncle Ben's death in the MCU. As you can see, he says if he blamed himself for his Uncle Ben's death, I think he becomes a very different character. That would have been a different interpretation, a more intense interpretation of the character. And people are absolutely clowning on this. This tweet has 76,000 likes, and he says, oh yeah, if he blamed himself for Uncle Ben's death, that is just him becoming the Spider-Man we all know from the comics and the previous movies. Now, I am not here to say that this isn't an iconic part of Spider-Man. Obviously, it is one of the most famous stories of all time, Uncle Ben dying and saying with great power comes great responsibility to Peter, and him taking that and carrying that with him to be Spider-Man. But I feel like everybody's forgetting one very crucial detail in the MCU, that yes, the first trilogy of Tom Holland's Spider-Man films are his origin story. They did it in a very different way, where over these three movies, he kind of gets all the different messages and important moments that happen to Spider-Man that make him the hero he becomes. I also don't think this is the Russo brothers saying that like, oh yeah, Uncle Ben's death had no effect on Peter or anything. Obviously, it did affect Peter and May heavily. It just was in a different way. Maybe Peter couldn't have stopped it in this scenario. It still very easily could have been the driving factor in him initially becoming Spider-Man, and then he's like, oh yeah, I want to become an Avenger. I want to become this big hero. And then again, throughout the trilogy and then an ending in No Way Home, he gets his new moment of Aunt May dying and her delivering the line with great power comes great responsibility. And if we're just talking about the movie versions of the character, I do think Spider-Man is an amazing origin. I love the scene of Uncle Ben dying and him saying those words to Peter. It is super powerful, but I think Aunt May's death is actually sadder and it hits harder because we did break it up over a trilogy of Peter actually becoming Spider-Man. I feel like we have this debate all the time. Some of the responses to this tweet of Joe Russo's quote are saying, I don't see how anyone thought giving Uncle Ben's role to Aunt May was at all a good idea. It's one of the worst decisions in Spider-Man media due to its execution. May really doesn't become a character till the third movie. Again, I'm not trying to disrespect Uncle Ben or the classic comic origin. Those are great and iconic, but you know what Uncle Ben is known for? Dying. How are you going to say Aunt May, who we've seen in over 3 movies in the MCU and has lots of great moments with different characters? Peter has a full-on relationship with Happy. How are you going to say her dying is less of a character than Uncle Ben when he dies? And again, I'm not saying you have to like this change, but I kind of feel like we're getting some of like the Last Jedi Luke Skywalker conversations. I don't think everything with Luke in that movie is perfect, but it's not bad just because they're trying to do something a little bit different than we've seen before with this character or that you had imagined in your head. And honestly, one day I hope we get a flashback in one of Tom's movies or like a little animated short showing exactly what happened with his origin, how Uncle Ben died. Was it just natural causes in this universe? Like originally, that's what Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was going to be before they made it like, oh, we're going to make it very similar to the MCU, but in an alternate universe. I honestly really hope we see it one day, but let me know in the comments below what you think about these comments. Do you like what he said or do you absolutely hate it? If you want to hear some more positive vibes about Spider-Man, people have already watched Spider-Man Brand New Day and the early reviews are absolutely insane. Click the video above my head to watch that, and thank you so much for watching this video.